Hi everyone, I want to show you how to make a delicious kombucha cocktail. So we're going to be using store-bought kombucha. Even though I make my own, I wanted to show it to you this way so that if you don't make kombucha, you'll still give this a try because you can go to the store and buy real kombucha. But what I want you to make note of is that you want to get it from the refrigerator section of your grocery store or health food store, not on the shelf. If it's on the shelf, it's probably been pasteurized and you won't have the active good bacteria that you're looking for in the kombucha in those products. So make sure it's from the refrigerator case. So we have about 3 to 4 cups of kombucha between these two bottles. We have about a cup of orange juice. We also have about a cup, and I know it looks like it's more than a cup, but if I pureed that, it would be a cup. These are frozen cherries. I just love cherries, so that's what I'm choosing. You could also use strawberries or raspberries if that was more to your liking. We have some nutmeg, which I'm going to add. This is optional. We have some fresh ginger, which I'm going to add, which is also optional. And if you want to sweeten it a bit, you can use some maple syrup, or you can use coconut sweetener or sucanat or organic sugar, whatever your preference is. And then for garnish, we have some dried fruit sweetened cranberries. We have also some little pomegranate seedy things here, the little, they'll look really nice in there. And we also have some orange wedges and orange halves. So those are for garnish later. And those are all the ingredients that we're going to use. It's pretty straightforward. Now for the cocktail part, if you're wondering why this bottle of wine is sitting here, I've got a bottle of sparkling wine here. And the reason it's sitting here is for those who want to make the cocktail more of a cocktail. And that's our basic ingredients. Now, for those of you who make your own kombucha, this is something you can do for extra phytonutrient punch. So this is my homemade kombucha that I just made. It's been fermenting for about 2 weeks. And I'm going to take off that. And here's our SCOBY. Isn't that lovely? And I'm just going to put the SCOBY into a plastic container. I'm going to pour a little bit of the kombucha in. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a nice fizzy there, so there was lots of good carbon dioxide buildup there. And I'm going to put a lid on it and just keep this in the fridge until I make the next batch. And then what you can do, so the cocktail that I was showing you, I was using orange and cherries. I'm going to show you a different combination. This one is peach and blueberries. So I'm just taking frozen peaches and frozen blueberries, and I'm putting them in. I've got half a cup of each. And then I'm going to fill this jar. And I'm going to leave about an inch of space. I may have to put a little bit more in there because of the fizzy. Still put some more in. Okay. So I'm going to leave about an inch of space from the top because you have to have space for the carbon dioxide. One of the beneficial bacteria does produce carbon dioxide, and it's part of the preserving mechanism. And then I'm just going to put my lid on, screw it on tightly. So now that the SCOBY is no longer present, you don't want air in there, so you want to have the carbon dioxide build up, and that will get rid of any air inside the jar in a couple of days. Or sorry, we're not leaving it for a couple of days. So the one thing about fruit, so what we're doing right now is by putting it in like this, we're now going to ferment the fruit a bit, which is going to increase the phytonutrient content. However, fruit always ferments into alcohol, which you may want, which is fine. But if you don't want that, then you only want to ferment this for about 12 hours, 24 hours maximum. And then what you can do for the cocktail is then you're going to add all of this into the blender or Ninja to get it to be one single liquid, so there's not chunks of fruit in there. And but what you've done is potentiated the phytonutrients that are in the blueberries and the peaches, added some more good bacteria to this whole mixture, and that's something you can do if you make your own kombucha before you make the cocktail. I would not do this if I bought store-bought kombucha because you don't know how long it's been around. This is freshly made. This is the time to do this. And this makes a delicious, it really adds flavor to the kombucha. It's absolutely delicious. So that's something that those who make their own kombucha can try. Again, if I was making the other cocktail, I would add the orange juice now, and I would add the cherries. I would even put the ginger and the nutmeg in, so they're all potentiated for their phytonutrients. It's just going to be even more beneficial for you. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is juice our oranges. And so I've got almost a cup here, and I've just got a little bit more. I just wanted to show you this lovely little contraption here. I'm sure you all have one. If not, it does allow you to get more juice out of the orange, and you just squeeze it like this, and the juice will come out. You make sure you get all the edges. And you get about 1/3 of a cup of juice from an orange like this. And then I just usually give it a little extra squeeze. And I don't worry if the pulp is in there because we're sticking this into the Ninja here, and that's all going to be munched up. So we're just going to add that so we have a full cup. And then this is pretty straightforward. We're going to put the orange juice into our, you can use a blender. I'm using a Ninja. You can use a Magic Bullet. You can use a food processor. It may leak a little bit, but you can use that as well. But we're sticking it in my Ninja here, and then I'm also adding the cherries. And the reason we're using the Ninja or the blender or whatever you're using is strictly to munch up the cherries. Now, if you're adding the nutmeg, I would add it now. And again, this is a taste preference. So I'm just going to put in about, not even, whoops, well, maybe I'm putting in more than I planned. I'm putting in about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And I'm also throwing in, as I said, there's about 1 inch of ginger. Again, this is going to make it a little zingy. And so again, this has to be something that you like. Now, something else you can add a bit of sweetener. I would add it now. And I'm just going to add, a couple of teaspoons. And something else that would be really, really tasty in here is if you put in some dates. So I would put in maybe 2 dates. That would be really, really nice. Okay, so now we're just going to put the Ninja lid on. And hopefully we're going to get it on properly because I seem to be a bit challenged when I do this. I don't know why. Okay. Put it on tightly. Now this is noisy, so I'll probably turn the camera off so you don't have to listen to it the whole time because the Ninja is a great machine, but it is very, very noisy. Okay, here we go. Or at least we think we're going to go. There we go. We don't know how to use our own Ninja. Okay, so this is now completely all mixed together, and that took about 40 seconds. So it doesn't take very long when you're using something like this. It might take longer in the food processor, and in the food processor you might have little bits of cherry, which is fine. A blender would do a better job, but certainly the NutriBullet or the Ninja does the best job. Okay, so we're just going to take this out and remove the lid. And add that to our bowl. And now we're just going to add the kombucha. So there's a decision-making process here. So usually the kombucha is fizzy. So if you want to have fizzy when you serve it, then what you need to do is make this up ahead of time and then just add the kombucha at the end. If you don't really care if it's fizzy, then you can make this up ahead of time, no problem. You can see this is very pink, but that's kind of because it has some like foamy in it because of the Ninja. That will go away and it's a nice red color. It's not pink like this. Okay, so we're going to take the lid off of these. Whoa. And you can see how fizzy that is. One of the things I wanted to tell you is to strain out the kombucha, because it has little sediments in it that are left over from the SCOBY. And I bet you this one's going to do the exact same thing. Oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? Doesn't that make you think it's very festive? Okay. So that is our recipe, and that is ready to go. But before I would serve it, I would let this calm down a bit. Perhaps you can see at the bottom, there's the true color down there when the foamy goes away. So that's what it's going to look like. And so this is ready to go. So we're just going to now put it in some glasses and garnish it, and you'll see how pretty it is. Okay, so now we're ready to serve the cocktail. And so all we're going to do is we're going to pour some in. And again, how much you want to pour in is up to you. If you're not doing, adding the wine, you could, make it fuller if you like. We're going to add some wine to this, but it's up to you. Now this makes a great punch as well. So if you wanted to serve this in a punch bowl, you could do that. And this is pretty straightforward. You're just adding this like this, a little bit more in here. As you can see, the color's really nice now after the foamy part goes away. Just put that in. Okay, and then if you want, you can take dried cranberries. As I said, they've been fruit sweetened, and you can just plop some in. And if you do the fruit part up ahead of time and put the cranberries in, they'll plump up as well. Or you can take the little pomegranate seeds and plop them in, and they look very nice too. And then to finish it, you can plop in an orange quarter. So I cut the orange slice in quarters. Or what you can do is just cut an orange wedge, or half a wedge I should say, and stick it on the side like that. So that's our kombucha cranberry cocktail all dressed up without any additional wine. And now what you can do, so you have options here. You saw how fizzy the kombucha was. Homemade kombucha isn't usually that fizzy, but with the commercial ones, they often add carbon dioxide, so it has a little more fizz to it. So if you left this and made it ahead of time so that it was flat and you didn't have the fizzy from the kombucha, I would use a sparkling wine like this. Or if you are going to put the kombucha in at the end and you have a very fizzy one, like I did, then you could use plain white wine as well. You could also use red wine if that's to your liking. Okay, so we're going to hope we don't have an accident here with this. And taking the lid off of a sparkling wine is always tricky, and this is what I do. I don't shoot it like you see on TV. I very slowly turn the cork until you get a nice little pop. Isn't that nice? Okay, and then so all you want to do is just add some sparkly. And now these are ready to serve. And that's your kombucha cocktail. Perfect for whatever entertaining you are doing this holiday season.